What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are doing well. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and if I look off to the right now and then, it's only because I've got the under-21s match on and another little screen over here. But we are back with a real quick news roundup today. Obviously, we come back to discuss the Man United news of the day. Danny, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you again. Yeah, I am watching the under-21s, pal. I've got it on. I watched the first 25 minutes or so down in my living room on the big TV. Now I've got the little screen going on because Aiden Heaven is starting today for the under-21s. So I was wanting to obviously watch him, see how he does. Looks pretty good so far. Pretty tidy on the ball. Really good at creating space for himself. Good with the ball at his feet. Reads the game really well too, from what I've seen so far. There was a moment where he recognized an opportunity to come make a challenge high up the pitch, and he actually won the ball. And we got possession back in the final third as a result, created an opportunity. So I like what I see so far. Obviously, it's a half hour of his first time, so I'm not going to gas him up too heavy. But so far, looks all right. He dallied on the ball a little too long at some point, and lost it as a result. But it is what it is. It's going to happen. But we are here to talk the news. We've been linked to a new name today. We've been linked to a familiar name today. So, and all that, we're going to talk about it all. So, I'll catch the second half of this when I'm done here. But let's get stuck in, you guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's dive into the news of the day. So the big news yesterday, and as we go into this, was that United and PSG could be set to go head-to-head for a striker. In this case, that striker is Victor Osimhen. Now, I saw this news last night, but you guys know from this morning's stream, I kind of want to start splitting up the news and the match reactions, match previews and stuff, because some of those just take too long. I like to have a focus stream maybe on one thing at a time. So we're going to start experimenting with just kind of splitting that up a little bit. So, but according to Turkish journalist Yagiz Sabunçoğlu, yes, got that right, nailed it. The two clubs, PSG United, are set to go head-to-head for PSG. Now, both clubs have reportedly made a verbal offer to Victor Osimhen, who does look set to leave Napoli this summer. We spoke about that recently as well. Both clubs are also reportedly fine with the personal terms. Now, those are the wages and the length of the contract as well. So I don't know what you guys think about Osimhen. We've talked about this a couple of times now. Where the report loses me, so obviously it's a Turkish outlet. He's playing with Galatasaray right now, so take that as you will. But where the report loses me is that it says that it claims that we're ready to trigger the 75 million euro release clause. That's not happening. We're not triggering any release clauses at all. We can't afford it. Honestly, as far as Osimhen's case, I don't think PSG can afford it. After they just signed Kavica Kvaratskhelia, I don't think that's going to happen. We couldn't afford loan fees for players. We're not affording 75 million release clause, and that goes the same for Housen at Bournemouth. I know Fabrizio Romano was bigging up the 50 million release clause that kicks in this summer. I've seen a lot of United fans talking to we should be all over this. We should be all over Housen. We're not going to pay a release clause. What we could do is, again, this, like I said the other day, the same as the Joshua Zirkzee deal, where the fee is a little higher than the release clause, but you get to amortize that over the number of years. So you're valuing the player higher. PSG overall will probably like Bournemouth, for instance, will get more money, but release clauses have to be paid all at once. So we're not doing that. So I think sometimes people get a little too hyped up, a little too excited about the next big thing. Maybe people just don't understand how transfer fees and all that stuff works. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not trying to say I'm an expert, but that's how it is. If we can't afford a loan fee for a player, we're not going to pay a release clause. But you guys let me know what you think about Osimhen. And the under-21s game is pretty back and forth right now. It's kind of a ping pong. Fulham got a little bit of a breakaway here. Dangerous area. Fulham just narrowly scored there on a breakaway. So interesting. But you guys let me know. Osimhen, yay, nay. If we were going for an experienced striker, I think right now the top three out there are going to be Osimhen, Gyökeres, potentially Jonathan David. People don't sleep on Jonathan David. I know there were heavy links to Barcelona as well, but check the guy's numbers. I know you guys are like, maybe I don't know about him as much. He's playing for Lille. the guy's numbers over the last several seasons, even when he was still playing in Belgium, were great. So I like Jonathan David a lot. I think he suits us very, very well. But moving on, because we did get a Giovanni Quenda update. This is coming from Ben Jacobs, and he reports that United are progressing well in talks to try to reach a pre-agreement to sign Giovanni Quenda ahead of this summer. We want to get that deal locked up now so we don't have to deal with anything in the summer, which overall, as far as a transfer strategy goes, we should have been doing this for years. This is how bigger clubs work. We don't just wait till the summer then start the process. It's how many times have we seen United do that? For the last decade, it's been because we've got idiots in charge of the transfer policy and the recruitment and all that stuff. Now we've got supposedly best in class. I want to see something that reflects that whole best in class line that we're hearing coming from Ineos. If you're best in class, you got to show it. You can't just proclaim it like you're Jose Mourinho calling yourself the special one. You have to show me what best in class looks like. It's because at the end of the day, I say this to a lot of people. At the end of the day, if you couldn't do this, how would I know that you mean what you say? If you couldn't just use words, how would I know that you mean what you say? What's best in class? I got to see action. I got to see actual, tangible evidence. Too. Danny says, get Mora too. He looks savage. That Rodrigo Mora kid. Yeah, he looked really good for Porto against Roma the other day. Like I said yesterday, we were linked with a few, number 10s. So Danny says the PR is best in class. That's all they brought. Danny, you make me laugh. But supposedly we're trying to get Giovanni Quenda signed. The problem right now, according to Ben Jacobs anyway, is a sticking point is price tag. United feel that Quenda is worth around £33 million. We would probably end up paying like 33 million with like another 5, 6, 7 million, taking it up to like 40 million with add-ons. Sporting reportedly want closer to 50 million. So significant gap between the two clubs in terms of valuation. I don't think I'd want to pay 50 million for Quenda. I don't think he's from a 17-year-old from the Portuguese league. I don't think that that's going to be good. Quenda's, but apparently he does want to join United. We want to get this deal done now to avoid any sort of issues in the summer. I just want to check something real quick. Paulinia transfer fee. So you guys know that I like to look up kind of like comparable players in terms of prices and things and how much. So I'm looking right now at João Paulinia, who went from Sporting to Fulham, famously. Remember, I'm trying to see how much that was. So he went for 25 million. So if João Paulinia will go from Sporting to Fulham for just 25 million euros, I'm not paying twice that much for a 17. This was a prime João Paulinia too. I'm not paying twice that much for a 17-year-old Giovanni Quenda. As good as he may be in the future, as good as he looks now, he's not a 50 million pound player. That's ridiculous. Rob, welcome back, man. Says their PR is only best at bringing bad news. I'm curious. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I'm curious why whenever it's news that we don't want to hear, it's PR. I'm curious. You guys let me know what you think about that. Danny says 100%. Nothing else they can spin anymore, Rob. Rob says, I like that they seem to be working on summer deals now. Get the players into the beginning and not the end of the summer. But see, that's my point right now, Rob. Now, again, I'm not trying to point you out. I'm just pointing out differences. So when it's something like that you want to see happen, it's not PR anymore. Even though a lot of other people might call that PR. Oh, look at us. They're trying to big up that they're doing business now. That's PR. See, what makes it PR for you? When you read something, what makes it filter through that's PR, and what makes it filter through no, I like that news? I want to know. Let me know what that looks like for you. I'm just curious. It's something that's always piqued my interest when it comes to fans online and things like this. And again, this is cognitive dissonance, this is subjectivity, this is bias, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but you guys let me know what makes something an agenda or PR for you. Then he says 30 mil, 35 tops. Yeah, I don't. Again, like I just read, João Paulinia in his prime went from Sporting to Fulham for 25 million euros. I'm not. There's no way I'm paying that. 33 is about 30 is about what you, I guess, can expect given now that this is about 4 years later. And you're going to be paying a little bit more in general for young players. I don't know, but it's it is what it is. Danny says, when it's obvious bullshit like that Oshman release clause, we're never paying that. Yeah, well, I say we're not paying the release clause simply because we can't afford to pay a release clause. Now, the release clause is a good, like the Xerxes deal, it's a good gauge of what we might do if we are in fact interested. Like Xerxes, what was the release clause for Xerxes? Like 30 million. We ended up paying like 33 or something. So it's a good gauge of where we would maybe start and maybe pay a little more. And so 75 million, I honestly, even if we were in for Oshman, he's got a 75 million release clause. I wouldn't want to pay more than that to amortize it, because I don't think he's worth that. For Oshman, I'd maybe pay 55, 60 right now, and because I have to figure in, the temper tantrum he kind of, and the issues that he had with Napoli and stuff in there, and like what kind of player are we getting right now. So I would like us to try not to spend a crap ton on people, if that makes sense. Rob says PR seems to happen after a bad result, placing seeds of positive. Yeah, but that's the thing, is it? How do we know that it's PR? Again, I'm not arguing. I'm trying to understand where you guys are coming from when you say this, because it's just the phenomena of what people think about some of these things come out, because again, they're just coming from random sources and stuff. So unless Ineos have literally reached out to places like Diario or like Ebola or this random Turkish outlet or something, this Turkish journal, like are they doing their due diligence to reach out? Because you can't. There's not like they're doing that. So I'm just curious. How we get some random thing and it's PR. Then he says, exactly. So it's PR, lies and spins again. Again, like I said the other day, just because it happens to be a bit of transfer stuff after a result, I don't know if that, to me, it doesn't automatically scream PR, but that's just me. I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's just how I interpret things. So, but yeah, you guys let me know. How much would you be willing to spend on Giovanni Kenda? I'm not going more than 30, 35 with add-ons tops, because that's a big outlet, or a big outlay, sorry, for a young player who, like, that's a lot for me. I think there are other options out there if we were looking for another right wing back, personally. And I don't know if we're getting another right wing back. Yeah, we probably could use one to improve, but is that a priority? Considering we're going to be losing midfielders, are going to be losing center backs, we probably need an experienced striker, and we probably need a number 10. Out of all that, what's going to be the priority? For me, I don't know if I need another right wing back right now, but you guys let me know. Danny says Mora looks better, but I haven't. Are you talking about the wing back Mora? Or are you talking about the number 10 Mora that we at Porto that we spoke about the other day? Let me know. So aside from being strongly linked to an early move for Giovanni Kenda, United are reportedly set to have a busy summer in general. And this is coming from a Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano has his own YouTube channel now. He decided he wanted to start making money rather than just tweeting stuff. So obviously people are going to follow him and he's going to make his money. It's kind of like when Ronaldo started a channel. He got like 100 bajillion subscribers like within the first 5 minutes. So it is what it is. But according to Romano, he says, after deciding not to invest money in January due to FFP, I can guarantee that in the summer, the idea is to do many things. They will cover several positions. Also, in terms of outgoings, many players are expected to leave. In general, Man United will change a lot in terms of players. It's going to be a busy summer. What? Sorry, I was just watching this game right now. Woo, that was such a good run. That was unlucky. Hope you guys are watching this. Danny says tent. You're talking, yeah, the young kid. Yeah. Rob says, I'm unsure on Quenda, but we need to get someone to replace Dallo. So I agree. We need to improve on Dallo. I agree. Maybe we should probably look for buyers for Dallo in the summer. The question is, in terms of the positions that we need, where does another right wing back fall on the priority hierarchy right now? You guys let me know what you think. Because we almost just scored the under-21s with a brilliant run. Who was that, number 7? It's smaller on my screen. Brilliant run. Nice little nutmeg drop of the shoulder and just got a horrible shot. The problem is the shot was right at the keeper. So that was, who's that? That was Sharp. Good deal. Rob says, hopefully Greenwood moves on as we got a sell on clause. Yeah. Money from sales, Malacia, Rashford, Anthony, although it sounds like Casemiro's here for life. Danny says, we need another right foot wing back. I would like a wing back like we saw from Dorgo, who could whip in a decent cross. Dallo just has never convinced me on that. But that's what Romano says. I mean, he says it's going to be a busy summer. He says there's going to be a lot of ingoings, a lot of outgoings. Ingoings, I mean incomings. Let's hope so, because we absolutely cannot afford to get it wrong this summer. We absolutely cannot. After the season we're having, after the struggles we're having, we cannot afford to fail this summer. It's halftime for the under 21s, so I'm gonna close that out so I can read my screen a little better. We can't afford to not do anything this summer. We just can't. We can't afford to get it wrong again. And we really can't afford to take a long time to get our business done. Like, no more chasing people all summer. We need to get the bulk of our business needs to be done before the preseason tour. These players need to go on preseason. They need to get time with their teammates and stuff. We need to build that cohesion, that familiarity, those relationships. We need to get them used to the system. We should already be targeting players who we think could suit the system. I'm not saying only target players who play in a 3-4-2-1, but you want to look at the characteristics, the profiles. You want to look at what you're looking for, and you want to find players that suit that. And if we need to sell to buy, we also cannot afford to not actively right now be trying to push these unwanted players out, trying to get their agents to start finding buyers for them. I don't care whether that's Dallo, Casemiro, Rashford, Anthony, Malacia. Get them all done. Get them out of here, because we need to know how much money we could be working with as we head into the summer, so we can start getting some of this stuff done early. And we need to keep that on the down low too, in terms of, hey, this deal is done and stuff, because it's getting on my nerves. Then he says, have him playing center back. Yeah, he's playing that left side. He did pretty good from what I saw. Like I said, he had a moment where he's just holding on to the ball a little too much and he's getting crowded out and he lost it. But other than that moment, he looks tidy on the ball. Good pass. Like I said, he kind of read the game really well in one spot, kind of stepped up to make a challenge high up the pitch and win the ball back. So I liked what I saw so far. But moving on, I saw a little rumor, and touching on what Rob says, I saw a little rumor from Fakai's today regarding Mason Greenwood. And while normally I wouldn't care because he's no longer a United player, it doesn't have anything to do with us, really, and especially because it's from Fakai's, who I pretty much kind of given up on as a source, because you guys know how this is. Like, I'm not talking about this bullshit Qatari sheik rumor that popped up today, because it's coming from Center Devils, who I no longer care about, and there's literally no sources. It's just a source close to the sheik told Center Devils. Yes, I'm sure the sheik, multi-gajillionaire who was going to buy Manchester United, allegedly reached out to Center Devils to come on. This is why we have you guys. It's important to read the articles. It's important to, and just like anything else, it's important to read who the source is coming from. As in, is it coming from Samuel Lucker? I'm really annoyed with Henry Winter. You don't read anything from Mark Ogden, because the guy hates United. Like, it is what it is. Bandomac, how you doing, Bandomac? But anyway, because it has to somewhat do with us, because it's a news show. Well, what the hell, right? But Fakai's is claiming that Greenwood is allegedly wanted by PSG, who are ready to pay big. I mean, didn't we just talk about how they've been linked to Victor Osimhen? Unless PSG are looking to fully get rid of Colomwani, to fully get rid of Gonçalo Ramos, and maybe offload another winger, because they have a lot of attackers at that club. I don't know what they're doing being linked with Mason Greenwood. But again, normally I wouldn't care, but since United do have a 50% sell-on clause with Mason Greenwood, again, we put a lot of those kind of clauses into a lot of these academy players that we've let go of, the Alvaros, the Camboilas, the Greenwoods. In the case that, let's say, PSG do want to spend big on Greenwood, that transfer could land us quite a big, and it's because he's an academy player. Ultimately, it's awesome. It's all profit. Again, half of the supposed price tag, I think they were looking, the price was like 60 something million, but half of that, 30 million, would go a long way, because Marseille are going to be losing half of that. We're going to be making some of that money. They're going to up the price a little bit, and it helps that he's doing well, just like Anthony. Hopefully Rashford does well too. But Greenwood's contract runs to 2029. we'll see. Again, PSG have a lot of attackers: Barcola, Kvaradona, Dembele, Doué, it's Akanji Lee, etc., etc. Um, I don't know how much how true that is, but it is what it is. We could be getting a little bit of money, so hopefully we can make a lot of sales on these loanees this season and guys like Greenwood because again we're struggling. I would love to be able to sell Dallo. Might be losing Lindelof again, Evans, Eriksson. I would love to be able to sell Casemiro if possible. Too. I would love to keep some of these players and then maybe give them all at least another year, depending on who they are. Not all of them, mind you, because we kind of know. I would take a Saudi offer for Onana right now. I would definitely take it like 100 million Saudi offer for Bruno as well because that goes a long way towards a proper rebuild. That could, with all that business done in the summer, that could literally be 7, 8 players in the summer. I'm talking like Forrest from 2 years ago transfer business. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Those guys buy like 24 players a couple of years ago? That was insane. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of that one because I'm going to move on to some other random news. Again, this is not just a transfer talk show. This is a United news show. As we hinted at a little bit this morning, soon to be new addition to United, Diego Leon, kept on rolling with Paraguay's under 20s last night as he scored the winner in a 3-2 victory over Argentina's under 20s in the under 20 Comma Bowl, the final round of the Comma. So it wasn't like they won the final, it was the final round. I think Brazil won the final, so Brazil won the tournament. But Paraguay did do enough to qualify for the under 20 World Cup based on the last couple games, especially. Thanks largely to Diego Leon, who played a key role. Obviously, he played 90 minutes in their, not this game, but the last game he played 90 minutes. And then obviously he played last night, scored the winner. I think it was like the 83rd minute winner. He looks really, really good. Future looks bright. I really like what I see from this kid. He's physical. He's lively. He gets in. Obviously, he has the touch in him to score a goal now and then. So Danny says Brazil fluked it. I mean, it is Brazil. You know, we'll see. I remember the funniest thing. I remember my best Brazil memory is when Germany spanked them in 2014. That was hilarious. Danny says I'd take 50, 60. I mean, I would ask for more than that. If Saudi clubs are reportedly getting ready to offer over 100 million this time last year, then I think that we could probably get that up to at least 75, 80 million. I'm like, we got peanuts for guys like Eric Bailly and whatnot. We need to start playing these Saudi clubs like a violin. I'm tired of doing shit in sales and having to spend over the odds for players. I'm tired of this United tax. Ineos need to do a better job of turning this around. You need to get a handle on this. From now on, I want the United tax to be like, if you want one of our players, you have to pay. That's the United tax, not the other way around. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Danny's happy with Leon. I'm happy too. He's doing a good job. I really, really like it. Danny B says Argentina were the best team. They battered Brazil. It is how tournaments work, though, right? You know, it is what it is. But big up Paraguay, they did qualify, and Diego Leon played a big part in that, obviously scoring that winner last night. So big up. He'll be here in the summer. He is not 18 yet. I think he turns 18 in April, but he'll be here this summer. He'll probably play with the Rezzies for a little bit. Who knows? But he could jump right into the match day squad at some point. I think that Patrick Dorgu could be our left-hand sides, and then we've got someone like Ahmad and maybe a Giovanni Quinda on the right-hand side if we can sell Dallo. I mean, I'll be happy with that for the time being. Rob says a new goalkeeper will be nice. Is Vitek doing well on loan? Vitek is doing amazing on loan. We did a little mini scout report. What was that? December, I did a scout report on Vitek. It was kind of a cheating scout report since he is our player, but because he's doing so well. At that time, Rob, he was the top-rated player in the entire Austrian league, not just at his club, not just keepers, the entire league. I think he's down to like third-rated now, but his save percentage is amazing. Really good shot stopping. He needs to work on his passing a little bit. Now, I don't care as much about that but in this system, again, you have to filter things through the system they're playing. And unfortunately, the system we're playing does need its keepers to be a little good on the ball. So if Vitek can just work on his passing a little bit, but his shot stopping, his command of his area, his reflexes, they're very good. I read a rumor that he might want to leave United. Obviously, he is 21, 22, so he's about that age where maybe he can start getting some minutes here and there, even like Kovar did. I don't want to talk too much about Kovar because I'm going to get upset, but I like Vitek a lot. Honestly, Rob, if a Saudi club came in this summer, because we know that Andre Onana just changed agencies, so maybe that's a hint. Sometimes when that happens, that means the player's looking to get a move. If a Saudi club or somebody else came in with a big offer for Onana, I would take it. Honestly, if it was anywhere like 25, 30 million, I'd probably take it. And I would stick with Bayindir and then VTech for next year and just let them duke it out and then go from there. I mean, I could do a scouting video on transfer targets as far as goalkeepers concerned, because there are plenty. I have a whole list for whenever I get around to playing FC 25 again once they do these updates for this transfer window. I have a long list of keepers that I really, really like. And a lot of them are good on the ball with their feet as well. They fit the system. This is how immersive I get with my FC 25 stuff. I try to sign players not just because they're the best, not just because I like them. I try to sign players that I think are realistic targets, players we have been seriously linked to, or players I think suit the system of the manager at the time. And that will change depending on if I choose to make a new manager for United when I play. I've done that for Nagelsmann, things like that. So that's how immersive and crazy I get with that freaking game. Then he says, Delgado, CDM, Ian Subiare being on for Brazil, I like from the tournament. Yeah, Subiare had a really good tournament from what I was looking at. Delgado sounds familiar. Rob says, Ryan Giggs slide tackling Ronaldinho in a friendly is my favorite Brazil memory. Do you remember when, it wasn't Brazil, but you remember when Raheem Sterling got a little dirty with Antonio Valencia in a friendly? And Valencia just gripped him up by the throat. This is why I hate friendlies. I hate them. That is another example right there, Rob. I freaking can't stand friendlies. Sanjay, catching me live today, man. I always see your comments, man. I always throw you a response, man. Good to see you live. How are you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day. We're just wrapping up a bit of the news. Again, moving on from transfer news and sticking with some United news. So a little bit of unfortunate news, but Dan Gore has apparently suffered a hairline fracture in his foot just a couple weeks into his loan with Rotherham, and he has returned to United to receive treatment for that. It sounds like an issue he picked up in training. Sound familiar? Seriously, what is going on this week just overall in training, just all around? Didn't like that one kid at Bayern was in a coma now because of a training issue. I want to say, didn't Kai Havertz ruin his season from training issue the other day, a hamstring or something? Even our loanees are now picking up injuries in training. Like, what the hell? Dan Gore, though, has had terrible luck when it comes to injuries. Obviously, he was part of Ten Hag's preseason about a year and a half ago, picked up an injury there, struggled a bit to recover, and he picked up another one. So in a game played with your feet, fractures, metatarsal injuries, ligament issues, that's never good. I mean, obviously you're going to pick up more of those injuries because of the nature of it, but each one of those is just like water on a rock. It's just start wearing you down. So I hope he doesn't go the Ethan Laird route where just the injuries just derail the career that he could possibly have. We'll see, because he does look pretty good, but I am worried. So Rob says, was playing FC 25 earlier. My favorite sites are SoFIFA and VG20. I don't know what VG247 is. I have looked at SoFIFA because that's how I can tell if there's been a squad update, and I can see what the updates are. I'm just waiting for them to update these last ones. The problem, Rob, is they finally introduced this year the feature that I've been wanting for years, which is the live start points. I've wanted that for years. The problem is that the live start point date and the squad update don't align. So they can update the squad, but until they update another live start point, the squad doesn't apply to the old live start point, if that makes sense. Very, very frustrating. So I haven't actually played that game in like almost 2 months now because of just, I was waiting for January, and now I've got to wait. Hopefully there's a squad update this week, but I know these are stupid first world problems to have, but it is what it is. RSV, welcome back, my friend. Are you loving the snow, my guy? We got like a foot of snow outside, guys. And RSV knows because he doesn't live that far from me. But this snow and it's like literally not even 20 degrees. It's like 15 degrees today. It's probably a little warmer because it's sunny, but it is freezing cold today. Oh, I hate winter. I hate summer more, but I hate winter. He says, no one could defend Højlund and even Garnacho after that Spurs game. I'm not asking Højlund to be scoring 20 goals a season, but he should be doing the basics. I mean, Højlund looked a little better, I thought, than we have seen yesterday, simply because we were playing to his strengths yesterday. Now, he could have done a little better with some of those chances. He probably could have had a goal had Garnacho's ball found him early in the first half, when Garnacho tried to square it coming off the right-hand side. It is what it is. But Hoyland, I thought, in terms of just getting forward, getting involved, like that's how we need to play Hoyland. We can't play him as a hold-up striker. We can't keep playing our attackers as hold-up players anymore. It doesn't work. We cannot do that. We have to. I'm glad yesterday showed me, like I did the review this morning, you guys. Go check that out if you haven't yet. A lot of things I thought looked better. Some of the same old shit again. And then obviously some players had just ridiculous, like Onana, I'm super frustrated with right now. But the NB saying, all people Spinio sacked, they still haven't sacked Dr. Death we got from Arsenal. He could be next on the chopping block. He wasn't an Ineos appointment or anything. Again, they did a whole audit, so we'll see what happens. But then it says no Lacey tonight. Not that I saw. Let me check again what that bench looks like for United. So Bailey, Bianchiri's on the bench, Camison on the bench, a small bench, Miles, Fredrickson on the bench. Yeah, no Lacey, though. Oganai is back in there, Aiden Heaven, Reese Monroe, Tommy Rowe, chilling, doing his thing at 36 years old. Thwaites, McAllister, Scanlon, at Bogamian. I don't know how to say that guy's name. And Sharp. Sharp had a really good run there late. But what Danny says, TikTok for Hoyland and Garnacho. What Hoyland needs is another older striker alongside of him. And if he doesn't have that, he needs to go and do like what Cheeto has done and consult and hire one-on-one individual striking coaches, outside consultancies to come work with him on his movement, on his hold-up play. That's what he needs to do. RSV said, Hoyland also messed up not getting into the right goal-scoring areas in the box when Garnacho passed into the box. Garnacho passed into the box? Garnacho seemed the only one to have eyes for goal yesterday from what I've seen. He completely ignored Dogu left and right. He took so many shots. Garnacho literally, like RSV, if you watched the video we did this morning, Garnacho has the worst conversion rate in the Premier League right now. 2-14 is the lowest shot conversion from the big chances that he's missed. So there's a lot of problems. You can't pinpoint it on one person, but Hoyland will be fine, I think, if he continues to work on stuff. The problem is Ben, that we're not playing to his strengths. And yeah, the finishing was shit yesterday, but we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna Hoyland. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Danny says Thwaites quality. Yeah, Thwaites has been pretty quality so far. Moving on. So Casemiro sat down with Diario AS recently to speak about his time at Real Madrid and Manchester United. And he said he vows to continue fighting at Manchester United. He said, I have to keep doing what I'm doing with a lot of respect and education. And of course, I'd like to play more, of course. He says, I don't know any player who doesn't want to play and help. Also, I'd like to help the club at this time. I approach things with respect for my teammates and the technical committee. And he said, and above all, I respect United, a club to which I'm very grateful. I have a year and a half left on my contract, and I'd love to fulfill it here in Manchester. So Casemiro wants to see out his contract at Manchester. What are your thoughts? I mean, I've seen so many people going in on him already. Like, yeah, you're getting paid almost $400,000 a week. Of course you want to see that contract out. Casemiro's issue is nobody wanted to buy him. He's on a lot of wages, and this is the problem that United, we pay players too much. We give them too long contracts, and we set ourselves up for failure. You know, you can get away with that like early on, one window or something. You can't do that every single transfer window over the course of a decade. Eventually, the chickens come home to roost. The debt comes due always, and right now we're dealing with it. And it's not just us. A lot of clubs in Europe are really starting to feel it, and it's interesting that it's been happening not just in the Premier League, but a lot of clubs in Europe are really starting to feel the FFP, the PSR, whatever the other league's equivalent to PSR is. I'm not sure why all of a sudden it's just caught up to clubs. Maybe just overall things are cracking down a little better, but it's just we're not the only clubs struggling with it at the moment is basically what I'm saying. RSV says, I'm talking about that one moment in the second half. But see, RSV, when you start the sentence with, I'm talking about that one moment, that's one moment. Now, I'm going to keep reading. I want to see what you have to say here. But he says, I'm talking about that one moment in the second half when he passed into the box from the byline. That was probably the only unselfish move against. So, again, the one time Garnacho does pass it, and the one moment where maybe Hoyland could have done a little better, that's what I was talking about this morning, where it's unfair to take exactly what you're saying. One moment, literally a couple seconds, and extrapolate that and say, see, that's what I'm talking about. Hoyland is shit. Because Hoyland's not shit. Look at the numbers from last year. He's not shit. One of the best conversion rates in football last year. Our top goal scorer. Pretty much as many, I think it was like one less goal involvement over in all comps than Cavani did his first year. The problem is you look at all these new strikers we signed, their first year here, they do fine. The second year, it takes a nosedive. The club, there's an issue going on. That's just the way it is. Now, it doesn't help the way we've been playing the last couple months. Hoyland's not a hold-up striker. He's not a Olivier Giroud. He's not. That's not his game. What we saw yesterday was more how we need to play with him. Get some people running in behind him like Xerxes did yesterday. Get some movement. Progress the ball forward. Get the ball wide. Dorgu, get the ball wide and get it forward. Find the runners in these channels. That's what we did yesterday. That's what we should have been doing the last few months. Like, I'm not going to sit here and play the what if game. Like, what if we've been doing that? I don't know. But the way we've been playing does not suit a lot of the players. And now what we saw yesterday, whether that's Amorim finally getting the system going, or whether that's just yesterday we just decided to counterattack because Spurs play a high line to get a lot of wide players forward. There's a lot of space. I don't know what to tell you, but yesterday it looked good. Danny says, of course, he's banking 300K a week. Yeah, I think it's like 375, right? Rob says, I can't blame him. I would stick it out as well. I mean, Casemiro, like you remember from the video this morning, his numbers yesterday were fine. I mean, as far as his duels, he won like the most duels in the game, I think, yesterday. Progressive balls, crosses, he was doing fine. Problem is he just can't be a defensive midfielder anymore because he just doesn't have the legs to track back, especially in this league. Danny says, big drop off from Obi to Musa. Musa looked a little bit, as I was watching earlier, like he was getting a little more aggressive. He was fighting a little bit more off the ball to win these challenges. So it looks like maybe he was trying to push to get noticed again, or maybe try to fill that void and not get another striker in. But we'll see. Hold on. I completely skipped a slide. My bad, guys. I was like, wait a second. I know there was one more transfer thing. So you saw the thumbnail. You saw this random blonde player in there. You're like, who the fuck is this kid? I skipped the slide on accident. Sorry. But this United are reportedly interested in a young Norwegian prodigy. And it's not Erling Haaland. It's not Sverre Nippon, who we talked about the other day. I did a deep dive scout report video on him the other day. So go check that out when you get a chance. So again, this is coming from On the Minute. United reportedly are among a list of clubs who hold an interest in 18-year-old FC Nordsjælland attacker Sindre Wale Egeli. Yep. So he's just a young, like I said, 18-year-old, plays primarily as one of the two 10s for FC Nordsjælland. I think that's where Bergvall came from, if I'm not mistaken. But he plays primarily as one of the two 10s. Perfect for us, right? Apparently, we've watched this young forward in action several times. Could make a move in the summer transfer window. Again, reportedly, United see Wale Egeli as one for the future, but it seems like they also believe the youngster could play an important role for Ruben Amorim straight away. Again, he is 18. United, Forest, Villa, West Ham, Brentford, Brighton, Palace are all reportedly in the race. Feyenoord tried to get him, and they had a 15 million euro bid rejected. So we'll see what happens. But the kid looks really good. Let me just check the stats real quick for this little bastard. Sindre, I want to check the numbers, what he's been doing in that league. Now, it's hard to translate, right, goals. I wish there was like a conversion rate for other leagues to like Premier League and whatnot. But see what he's got so far. So far, he's got 5 goals, 3 assists in 19 matches for FC Nordsjælland right now. So doing bits, playing pretty much the full matches when he does play. Again, plays one of those number 10s. So doing pretty well. Again, young, so I'm not going to put too much on him. But Rob says, Chelsea going to have a nightmare as they have players on 8-year contracts. Yeah, Chelsea are not going to make any money on a lot of these players, unfortunately. I don't know how Chelsea they're just going to sell another hotel, I guess. Now, remember, the women's team does not, and the youth squads don't count against you in PSR. So they could probably find loopholes with the women's team to get money. I don't know. Yeah, Jay says, how can we pull off the Oshman deal, but we can't pull off the Gyökeres deal? Well, and welcome back to the channel, Jay. So, Gyökeres deal, I mean, it's a rumor. It's coming from a Turkish journalist. I'm not saying it's not true just because of that. I'm just saying it's a rumor. And the reason I'm not super convinced is again the people, and the people have been doing this with Dean House and like citing the release clause. Like, we're not going to pay a release clause. Because you have to pay it all at once. You can't amortize a release clause. So I don't think that's going to happen personally. Danny says it needs to run channels more Hoyland. Yeah, well, we need to play that way for Hoyland to do that. We haven't been playing that way. We've just been playing him as this long ball, like hold it up and get the runners in around him. But we need to get players that are able to progress the ball high up the pitch. We can't just hoof it long, expect this 21, recently just turned 22 striker who doesn't play that way because he's never played that way to all of a sudden just turn into a hold-up striker overnight. That's not going to happen. It's not. I don't know what that's like telling Bruno, like expecting Bruno to turn into this powerhouse defensive midfielder overnight. That's not his game. Like, it would be unfair. We would never ask that of someone like Kobbie Mainoo or something. Why are we asking it of Hoyland? I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying in general. These fans need to chill out. Like, his first touch is shit. He can't play with his back to goal. Like, he's never played with his back to goal. He's never played that way. I'm not saying that he can't improve that and he shouldn't improve that. I think if he wants to be a well-rounded number 9, he needs to. But for right now, we should probably play to his strengths. He's the only striker we have. Rob says, is there a site that has stats on who a player passes to? I'd love to see where Hoyland ranks on received passes from Bruno. I think it'd be very low. Well, we did the one match. I forget what it was. You guys can remind me. It was either like Wolves or one of the earlier Fulham matches or the Bournemouth match or something. But I brought it up. It was from Opta. And it was a pass map for the whole match because I wanted to point out, because people, again, were going in because the goals aren't coming. They automatically blame the striker. And I brought up the pass map. Now, the thicker the line on the pass map between two players, the more frequently that pass was made. And if you guys remember when I brought that up, there were no lines going from any United player to Hoyland. It means he was not getting the ball. Hoyland makes runs. He's just not getting the ball. And I laughed my ass off last night watching this match because the commentator couldn't stop licking Matthias Tell's ass, kept saying, oh, he's making these runs, they're just not finding. And I'm like, yeah, Hoyland does the same thing, but when it's Hoyland doing that and no one's picking him out, it's Hoyland's shit, apparently. Like, it's Hoyland's making runs. Until recently, no one was finding him, and then Licha was the one picking him out. And now I don't know how much Bruno is doing. I haven't looked at that, and it's been a little skewed because Bruno's just recently started playing in that deeper role, but it's a little ridiculous. RSV says Casemiro was let down by Bruno in that double pivot. Bruno was also not tracking back. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. That's one of the big reasons why I don't like Bruno in the double pivot. Now, again, looking at his numbers, Bruno was doing actually pretty decently. The problem is when you watch him play, he was getting sucked way too high up the pitch. He was leaving a big hole in midfield. But when he was on the ball, and Bruno won the most tackles on the night, too. He won 5 tackles. So it's hard. It's hard to say one way or the other. You can say one thing and then it can be true, but then something else can also be true. It's really weird how life works, right? Raja, big up, man. How are you doing? Good to see you again. Jay says, we finally have a fullback, wingback that overlaps, but then he gets ignored by a young, selfish kid. Yeah, I was getting a little frustrated with Garnacho last night. He's young, but again, he's regressing in some areas, or at least let's say he's not improving in some of those areas when it comes to picking people out, right? Let me just bring up, since we're done with the notes, I'm going to bring up MUTV again so I can watch some of this while we're going here. Roger says, need to try getting Villa. Who's Villa Onana? Who is that? Is that a player? Roger said, it looks like Eric Ten Hag may go to Feyenoord. Potential. Oh, Fulham are up 1-0, so I didn't see that. May go to Feyenoord, potential, but not done deal. I saw that he was linked with Dortmund a little while ago, too. I didn't see anything come of that. Roger says, will next signing be Rihanna Beyonce as well? I wouldn't be surprised to see them at the next stadium at some point doing concerts and whatnot. And I don't really have a problem with that. We could still use Old Trafford for that, honestly. But if a new stadium wants to do a concert, if it's making money, I don't really care. I really don't, to be honest with you. It doesn't have anything to do with the football. It's only making money. It's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. Roger said, who is our Asensio CB? Is it Yoro, Delit, Kakonki? Don't know. It could be Yoro. It could be Aiden Heaven. Aiden Heaven is playing tonight with the under-21s. So who are struggling a little bit to make something work against Fulham. Fulham are up 1-0. RSV says PSR ain't no joke. Otherwise, Newcastle would have spent a lot last summer. They had to sell a couple players like Elliot Anderson, Amorim, Minta, made a lot of profit. Yeah, again, it doesn't matter how rich your owners are. Bezos, Elon Musk could have gone in together and bought this club, and they wouldn't have been able to do anything more in the transfer market than we did. It's just they could do a lot of other stuff, but they wouldn't have been able to do anything with the transfer market. RSV says data MB. There you go. There's another one. Roger says did rate Gonzalo Higuain at Juve. Gonzalo Higuain used to be really, really good. Just, strikers come and go. Box says Ahmad never passes to anyone except Manu. He ignored Dorgu, but Ahmad never gets criticism. No, I criticize Ahmad quite frequently for how long he takes to make a pass when he does get in the box. And you guys, if you've watched the channel, I say that pretty regularly because it's true. He gets in and it's a step over here, it's a drop the shoulder, and it's just 1-1-1-1-1, and then he finally gets the ball, and he needs to make that decision a little bit quicker. I'd like to see some of these wide players play these early balls in a little bit more when we're making these runs. And we saw it yesterday. There were a lot, like Dorgu played a really good ball along the touchline in behind. We got to start doing more things like that. Raja, he's talking about Leicester game, I think. Danny B says, for fuck's sake, yeah, 1-0 down, yeah. I'm playing catch-up here with y'all. Roger says, he unfortunately out-remainder this campaign. He is. RSV's Ederson from Atalanta will be a very good move. Ederson, I do like Ederson. I think for right now, it's going to be all about, who's going to fit the system and who's the price, because we can't afford a whole lot. I know Ederson, what was the price, like 50 mil? Obviously, we don't pay 50 mil. But with Ederson, it's going to be wages. I'd rather get someone like Hayden Hackney, someone like that who's like 22, 23, does a similar job, can probably get him for cheap, and he's on super chill wages right now. RSV says, we really need a proper technical ball playing midfielder. Look no further than Hayden Hackney, my friend. You guys are probably so tired of me saying stuff like that, but I cannot speak highly enough of Hayden Hackney at Middlesbrough. Rob says, big game in the Championship. Leeds versus Sunderland. We'll be rooting for dirty Leeds due to their Welsh players. We can't root for Leeds ever, but if you guys do want to watch Chris Rigg and Jobe Bellingham at Sunderland, they are playing right now as well. I believe it is 0-0. Let me see if Rigg is actually playing. Rigg is playing. Bellingham's playing as well. Oh, I forgot that they signed Enzo Lafie. Remember that kid? We were linked to him a couple of years ago. Box says, not you, Sean, just fans in general. Yeah, no, I hear you. We do like the young, exciting player, and unfortunately, it is human nature to have some sort of a scapegoat for your frustration, and sometimes it is a player. And unfortunately, it gets to a point where it does become an agenda, where despite any sort of evidence to the contrary of how someone feels, they just still want to, bash a player. We see it with Pogba. You still see it with Bruno. You see it with Rasmus Højlund. What? Didn't say anything. United just won a free kick in the opposition half here on the left-hand side. Raja. One thing Ahmad could do is improve on his weak foot. He never uses the weak foot much. The only thing I want Ahmad to start doing is just making a decision quicker when he gets the ball into the box. If we can do that, I think we get a lot. But he just takes too long, and every single touch he takes just allows the opposition defense to get back in numbers. And then he usually, when he tries to square one, it just gets blocked. He needs to do it a little sooner. Raja, Manu, to be honest, doesn't look fit. I mean, Manu's kind of been struggling a bit for a little while and just coming back from fitness. That was a shit free kick. Who was that put that in? Danny says, they'd be delighted to see us coming, charge us a fortune for Ederson. Yeah, they would. Atalanta owe us a little bit of a favor. We bought 2 players off them, and so far, we'll see. Raj says, can Man United still try to get James Garner? We had James Garner. We'd probably be more better. Do we still have a sell-on for him? I can't remember now if we have a sell-on for him or not. Roger says, our bench yesterday was depleted. Scary as heck. Yeah, no. I liked Garner. I thought at the time when we let him go, I liked him better than Fred and McTominay. He hasn't really developed a whole lot, and he's got to be like 22, 23 by now. So I think Everton's probably going to be his level, but he was another one that I was sad at the time to see let go, especially for how cheap we sold him for. I don't remember how. I think it wasn't that much. But what are you going to do? Not everyone that comes through the academy is going to be a class of 92. So United on the attack. Oh, that's such a bad ball. Who was that? Was that Amos? That was not a good ball from Amos trying to pick him out. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. You guys know I had the under 21s game going on. Oh, that's Murray. Murray's not playing very good balls. So, but that is the news of the day. Not a whole lot going on. I was sorry again for just completely skipping that slide on that young Norwegian kid, but he was the one off in the little thumbnail in that little hexagon, if you guys couldn't tell. But yes, Cinderwala Ageli plays for FC Nordsjælland. 8 goals, 5 goals, 3 assists, I think, in the league right now in 10 or like 20 matches. So young 18-year-old can play number 10, so go check that out. We saw some little Casemiro news. Dan Gore struggling with injury right now, hairline fracture in his foot. United linked with Victor Osimhen in a head-to-head with PSG in the summer. I don't see that happening because we can't afford a $75 million release clause. If like I said, the most realistic option you're going to get for any of these players whose release clauses are being touted, whether that's Osimhen or Hausen, is United will offer a little more so they can amortize that and not have to pay the full release clause. So that is what it is. I'm going to go finish watching this match. Robert Reed, welcome back, says Ederson has an issue with his knees. Interesting. I was not aware of that. What is it like full-on injury, or is he just like got these little injuries left and right? Raj, I don't want Osimhen really. Maybe he isn't overrated, to be honest, but I heard he was crap mentality. Yeah. I would take Gyökeres. If we were going in for an experienced striker, Gyökeres would be my pick. That just is what it is. And really, it's going to come down to what your priorities are right now. It seems like a lot of people want a striker this summer. Jonathan David would be probably my second pick because he will be available for free. Obviously, there's no such thing as a free signing, but he could do that. So, but Rich, big up, man. Good to see you. I'd take any striker at this point. But that's going to do it for me, you guys. Thanks for stopping by, help wrapping up the news. Not a whole lot to go on today, so just and thanks for doing a little bit of a mini watch along for these under 21. So I'm going to go finish watching this and go hang out with the dogs a little bit because I've had to run a lot of errands today. So Raja says John Toff for CR. He's a center back, bro. But you guys take it easy. I will see you guys on the next one. Keep a lookout later on this week for the Everton preview. We'll do that. Obviously, we'll do a little bit more in depth. And then obviously, as the news pops up, we will be back to talk all sorts of United news. So big up everyone for stopping by. Appreciate you guys taking the time out of your afternoon. Do you guys like splitting up the news talk and the match reactions and whatnot? No, because it's freaking... It makes for a long stream when we try to do it all at once. So I thought maybe I'd split it up and keep the conversation kind of compartmentalized. Rob says, keep them out of that snow. The problem is, like, my one dog tweaked her ACL again, just a little bit, but not bad. But she likes to play in the snow, and the other dog wants to play with her in the snow. And so the problem is like keeping them from getting too crazy outside. It's literally a foot of snow, and it's like 14 degrees outside today. So it is what it is. But take it easy, guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Talk to you later.